All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about a little bit of Destiny drama that happened today on Twitter. This involves Paul Tassi, if you don't know who that is. He's a writer for Forbes and a casual Destiny player. He writes a whole slew of articles all the time. He's always very involved within the Destiny community, and in today's episode of Destiny Drama, he actually wrote a tier list for 3.0 subclasses, ranking them from best to worst. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what's so interesting about this? Well, the part that got everyone into a bit of a frenzy was that he ranked the Solar Warlock for the 3.0 rework as the worst subclass in the entire tier list. He ranked it as number 9 out of all of them. And needless to say, people came after him on Twitter. You know how it is on Twitter. Everyone gets a bit crazy, but I did think it was a really interesting play to rank Solar Warlock the worst out of all of the classes, considering, in my opinion, and in the build video that I brought you all, I ranked Solar Warlock as number 1 in PvE. So we're going to go ahead and read and dive into a bit of this for this video. We have Paul writing Solar 3.0 Warlock. I think it's pretty clear that almost everyone views Solar 3.0 Warlock as having gotten the short end of the rework stick overall. Personally, I would not agree with that. He goes on to then say it had to be buffed mid-season, and that still wasn't quite enough with this aerial kills fantasy not really working into anything approaching PvE content. I do enjoy the burn builds you can make with Dawn Course and incandescent weapons or fusion spam, but it's clear that it still needs some pretty serious help. Now, I do agree a little bit with what he's saying if he's speaking specifically to using Dawnblade in PvE, but at this point in time, I don't really see any reason why anyone would use Dawnblade in PvE when Well of Radiance is so good and has so much utility. He then goes on to write, of course, Well remains a necessary super in things like raid and dungeon encounters, so you often have to run it, but I think you have to separate that out from the subclass rework as a whole. Which is, I mean, not a half bad argument if I had to say so, but I think the real problem is that ranking Solar Warlock, as it says right there, Solar 3.0 Warlock as number 9, when Well is literally number 1 and Dawnblade could arguably be number 9. It's probably should just split the categorization there, right? Probably should do the tier list a little bit differently, because you're definitely going to get people all in a frenzy by ranking the best class in the game as the worst class, but maybe that's Paul's intention. Maybe he's a social media marketing genius here. People then went on to try and discredit him and his opinions because apparently, according to his raid report, this image was brought up on Twitter. According to his raid report, he only has 1 clear of King's Fall, so clearly he is not very experienced in PvE, at least this season. So that would honestly make a lot of sense why he would rank Solar Warlock 3.0 as the lowest, because it is literally the best for the raid. I don't know if you've used it much or if you've ran multiple well locks in any encounter of the raid. It literally just makes everything better, everything easier. The survivability and offensive utility is amazing for Solar Warlock. His response to this was, bro, I have a baby, LOL, which is a perfectly fair and perfectly reasonable response. You know, if you have a family, of course you're not going to be able to raid as much as people that don't, but I couldn't help but chuckle a little bit when Rick Cactus actually chimed in with this reply right here saying, so do I, casual, where, if you don't know, Rick Cactus recently had a baby, and he has 10 clears of the raid, so that was kind of a hilarious response. And it really fanned the flames of the Twitter drama, but of course all of this is done in good nature. No one is trying to harass Paul on his opinion on this. Anyone and everyone is welcome to make a tier list on anything that they want to. But just keep in mind that when you do make a tier list, you are subjecting yourself to a massive amount of criticism. Lastly on this, a tier list created by Salto Grepo, who's obviously the 3-time back-to-back world's first raid race winner. Clearly he knows quite a bit about PvE. His tier list became circulating as a part of this entire conversation, and he of course ranked Solar Warlock as S+ tier, as I ranked it previously in my build, saying that this is literally the best in the game. This is like the only build you need, and then you are good. You could literally just use this Solar Warlock build and you could beat every challenging endgame activity. The raid, Grandmasters, solo lost sectors, everything. You could beat it very easily with just this well build right here. If you haven't seen this video, I will link it down below. It's called the Meta PvE build for Season 18. Best overall build. I highly recommend you use this. Hopefully Paul Tassi uses this build because it would completely change his mind on the ranking for Solar Warlock. Undoubtedly the best build for overall survivability, with constantly getting your Well of Radiance back. Not to mention it's paired with insane amount of offensive utility with those fusion grenades standing inside an empowering rift. Plus you're going to have seeking wells and wells of life constantly coming back to you, making sure that you stay alive endlessly when you don't have your well uptime. This is the meta build for Season 18, the strongest build, S+ tier, the number 1 on all tier lists and all rankings, in my opinion. Let me know if you agree or disagree, though, in the comment section below. What do you think is the best build, and what did you think of this video? Make sure to put your comments down below, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all the news in Destiny 2. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next one. Later.